First contact. The message appeared on Commander Maya Chen's holographic display with a cheerful ping that felt entirely too mundane for its contents. She blinked at it, her coffee halfway to her lips, as the words slowly registered in her exhausted mind. Congratulations. You have just declared war on the Galactic, the most dangerous species. Maya set her mug down with deliberate care. After 14 months commanding the deep space exploration vessel Horizon, she had developed a knack for maintaining composure in strange situations. But this was something else entirely. Eris, verify this transmission. She ordered the ship's eye. Run full diagnostics on our comms array. Verification complete, Commander, replied Eris in her measured tone. Message origin confirmed as non-human. Signal matches no known communication patterns in our database. Comms array functioning at optimal capacity. Maya scrolled through the message again. There was no diplomatic preamble, no formal declaration. Just that single line of text, presented like a notification that her food delivery was arriving. Where did this come from? She demanded, pulling up the ship's sensor logs. Signal originates from coordinates that align with the artifact we recovered from Europa Station, Eris replied. Maya's eyes darted to the sealed containment unit in the corner of the bridge. The artifact, a metallic dodecahedron, covered in swirling patterns that seemed to shift when you weren't looking directly at them, had been discovered buried deep beneath the ice of Jupiter's moon. Dating suggested it was at least 50,000 years old. Their mission had been to retrieve it and bring it to Earth for further study. No one had expected it to wake up. Get Dr. Nakamura up here now, Maya ordered, rising from her chair. And put the ship on yellow alert. Commander, Eris interrupted, her voice uncharacteristically urgent. I'm detecting an energy signature emanating from the artifact. It appears to be broadcasting. Before Maya could respond, the artifact began to hum. The strange patterns on its surface glowed with an eerie blue light, pulsing in rhythm with the hum. Then it rose from its containment unit, hovering in midair. Full containment protocols, Maya shouted, but it was too late. The artifact exploded in a flash of blinding light. Maya shielded her eyes, expecting to feel the heat of an explosion or the ship's hull breaching. Instead, when she lowered her arm, the artifact was gone, replaced by a shimmering holographic figure. We're vaguely humanoid but clearly alien. Tall and willowy with 4 arms and skin that looked like polished obsidian. Its face was featureless except for 6 glowing points arranged in a hexagon, where eyes might be. Human vessel. The figure spoke, its voice resonating from everywhere at once. I am Nexus Sentinel of the Voidborn Sovereignty. The artifact you have activated was a hibernation beacon. You have awakened our people from 10,000 years of sleep. Maya stepped forward, her heart hammering in her chest, but her voice steady. I am Commander Maya Chen of the United Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. We had no knowledge that the artifact was a beacon. We intended no. Your intentions are irrelevant. The Nexus Sentinel interrupted. The activation protocol has been cataloged as an aggressive action. Your species' interference with our technologies constitutes a declaration of war under Voidborn law. Maya felt her blood run cold. There must be some misunderstanding. We're an exploration vessel, not a warship. Humanity seeks peaceful contact with. Your species' history has been analyzed. The alien continued as if she hadn't spoken. You are violent, unpredictable, and expanding rapidly. The Voidborn Sovereignty has deemed humans too dangerous to be permitted further development. Preliminary extinction protocols have been initiated. The bridge fell silent. Maya forced herself to breathe, to think past the panic threatening to overwhelm her. How long do we have? She asked finally. The alien seemed to consider this for a moment. Your question implies a desire for preparation. Interesting. The first strike will commence in 72 of your Earth hours. It is customary to provide notice so that lesser species may contemplate their errors before termination. "We're not a lesser species," Maya said, straightening her spine, "and we won't go down without a fight." For the first time, the alien's posture changed, a slight tilt of its head, almost like curiosity. "Your species' confidence, despite overwhelming disadvantage, is noted. It changes nothing. Prepare as you wish, Commander Maya Chen. The outcome is inevitable." The hologram flickered and vanished. The bridge exploded into activity as alarms began to sound. "Eris, emergency transmission to Earth Command," Maya ordered, already moving toward her console. "Priority Alpha. Send everything we just recorded." "Commander," Eris responded, "at our current position, the transmission will take 4 hours to reach Earth." Maya nodded grimly. "Then we've got 4 hours to figure out what the hell we're going to do next." Admiral Kenzo Takahashi had seen many things in his 40 years with the United Earth Defense Force, but nothing had prepared him for this. He stared at the holographic projections hovering above the situation table, displaying the approaching void-born fleet in terrifying detail. "How accurate is this intel?" he asked the room full of Earth's highest-ranking military and scientific personnel. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, director of Xenotech Research, stepped forward. The Horizon managed to get detailed scans before. She hesitated. "Before they were destroyed, sir." Takahashi's jaw tightened. The Horizon had fought bravely, buying time for their transmission to reach Earth. Commander Chen and her crew had sacrificed themselves to give humanity a fighting chance. "And your analysis?" he pressed. "The void-born technology is beyond us," Rodriguez admitted. "Their ships appear to manipulate space-time itself. Their weapons can destabilize molecular bonds. Based on what we're seeing, I'd estimate they're at least 500 years ahead of our most advanced tech." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. General Mbeki of the African Coalition Defense Force was the first to speak. "How long until they reach Earth?" "At their current velocity, 63 hours, replied the young lieutenant monitoring the deep space tracking network. "Options?" Takahashi demanded. "We could try diplomacy again," suggested the UN Secretary General. "Perhaps there's been a genuine misunderstanding. They destroyed the Horizon mid-transmission." Takahashi cut in. "That wasn't a misunderstanding. That was a statement. What about military options?" The answers came quickly, each worse than the last. Their combined global fleet was outmassed and outgunned. Planetary defense systems were designed to handle asteroids and conventional attacks, not weapons that could rewrite physics. Nuclear options would devastate Earth, but barely scratch the void-born ships. "So we're looking at extinction in less than 3 days," Takahashi said flatly. "Not necessarily," came a new voice from the doorway. All heads turned to see a tall woman in a lab coat. Her silver hair was pulled back in a severe bun, and her eyes burned with fierce intelligence behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Dr. Isadora Wei," she announced herself, striding to the table without waiting for permission. "Director of Project Prometheus." "This is a closed meeting, Doctor," Takahashi began, but the Secretary General raised a hand. "Let her speak. Project Prometheus was green-lighted by the Security Council last year." Dr. Wei nodded briskly and connected her tablet to the situation table. A new hologram appeared, schematics for what looked like a massive orbital platform. "For the past decade, we've been developing what you might call humanity's last resort weapon," she explained. "The Prometheus array is designed to harness dark energy in ways that theoretically could disrupt the very fabric of space-time." "Dark energy weapons." General Mbeki sounded skeptical. "That's purely theoretical." "It was theoretical," Wei corrected him, "until 18 months ago, when we achieved our first successful test. We've kept it classified because, frankly, this technology could destroy the solar system if mishandled." Takahashi studied the schematics with newfound interest. "And you believe this could work against the Voidborn?" "They manipulate space-time for propulsion and weapons," Wei replied. "We can target those manipulations specifically, turning their own technology against them." But there's a catch. There always was, Takahashi thought. The array is built but not fully operational. White continued. We need another 48 hours to bring it online, and we need to deploy it from our lunar base. Which means we need to hold off the Voidborn for at least 2 days, Rodriguez concluded. Exactly, Wei nodded. We need a delaying tactic, something unexpected enough to buy us time. Takahashi looked around the room, seeing the desperation and determination in every face. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and its own near destruction of Earth's climate. They had clawed their way to the stars through sheer stubborn persistence, and they weren't about to go extinct without showing these Voidborn exactly what humans were capable of. Then we give them something unexpected, Takahashi declared. Something so uniquely human that their advanced technology can't possibly have prepared them for it. He turned to his tactical officer. Get me every ship captain, every fighter pilot, and every crazy bastard with an engineering degree who's ever thought, I wonder what happens if I try this. We're going to need them all. As the room erupted into activity, Takahashi looked up at the projection of the approaching alien fleet. You picked the wrong species to underestimate, he murmured. The Voidborn commander, known as Prime Executor, observed the human home planet through the ship's sensors. Such a primitive world. Chaotic, messy, inefficient. The analysis of human history had revealed a species constantly at war with itself, destroying their own environment, barely unified enough to reach beyond their atmosphere. Yet something troubled the Prime Executor. Human advancement was exponential where most species developed linearly. They adapted with unusual speed. They seemed to thrive on challenge rather than stability. Status report, the Prime Executor demanded. Extinction fleet in optimal formation, replied the sub-executor. We will reach optimal firing range in 49 Earth hours. Their defensive capabilities are negligible, and yet they prepare to fight, mused the Prime Executor. Our scouts report frantic activity throughout their system. They are repositioning vessels, evacuating orbital stations. Futile gestures, dismissed the sub-executor. Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Their tactics are predictable. Perhaps, conceded the Prime Executor, yet caution is warranted. There is a saying in our archives about another species we once underestimated. Beware the cornered prey that does not flee. The sub-executor made a gesture of acknowledgement but seemed unconvinced. The humans have already revealed their capabilities. They pose no threat to this sovereignty. The Prime Executor turned back to the view screen, watching the blue-green planet grow steadily larger. We shall see. Humanity's response. The first Voidborn attack came without warning. One moment, the orbital defense platform above New Delhi was operational. The next, it simply ceased to exist, not destroyed in a conventional explosion, but unraveled at the molecular level, its component atoms scattered into space as if it had never been built. Similar strikes hit defense installations across Earth's orbit. Each target vanished in a silent flash of light, leaving nothing but empty space and terrified observers. They're testing our defenses, Admiral Takahashi said grimly as he watched the holographic display track the disappearance of another satellite cluster. Picking off our technology systematically. Why not just hit Earth directly? Asked General Mbeki. They're cautious, Dr. Rodriguez suggested. For all their technological superiority, they know very little about us. Then let's use that to our advantage, Takahashi decided. Initiate Operation Chameleon. Across the globe, military bases that had been preparing for desperate last stands suddenly went quiet. Defense systems powered down. Communications ceased. To any observing eye, particularly the advanced sensors of the Voidborn fleet, Earth appeared to be surrendering, lying defenseless. Meanwhile, 40,000 kilometers away, hidden in Earth's magnetic wake, a ragtag fleet of ships was assembling. Mining vessels repurposed with makeshift weapons, scientific platforms carrying experimental technology, Every spacecraft humanity could muster gathered for one desperate gambit. In the command center of this improvised armada stood Lieutenant Sophia Diaz, formerly the junior tactical officer on the horizon. She had been on leave when her ship was destroyed. Now she was one of the few people alive who had witnessed the Voidborn up close. "They expect us to behave logically," she briefed the assembled captains, "to follow conventional military doctrine. Their entire species operates on precision and calculation, so we're going to do the one thing they won't expect. We're going to act completely illogically." On the main view screen, a schematic displayed their audacious plan. While the Voidborn fleet positioned itself for what they believed would be the final attack on a surrendering Earth, the human ships would execute a series of maneuvers designed to appear random and chaotic. "Each ship has specific targets," Diaz continued. "Not to destroy. We can't destroy their vessels with our current weapons, but to disrupt, to confuse, to buy time." She didn't need to remind them what they were buying time for. Every person in that room knew that Dr. Wei's team on the lunar dark side was working frantically to bring the Prometheus array online. "They think we're predictable," Diaz concluded. "Let's show them how unpredictable humans can be when our backs are against the wall." In the command chamber of the Voidborn flagship, the Prime Executor observed the human world with growing suspicion. "They have ceased resistance," reported the Sub-Executor. "Defense systems are offline. Communication networks have gone silent." "Too quickly," the Prime Executor mused. "Analysis suggested they would fight until the end. This surrender contradicts all predicted behavior patterns." "Perhaps they recognize the futility of resistance," suggested the Sub-Executor. "Even primitive species can calculate inevitable outcomes." The Prime Executor made a gesture equivalent to a human shake of the head. "No, humans especially do not accept inevitable outcomes. They have demonstrated remarkable capacity to defy probability. This is something else. A trap," the Sub-Executor suggested, the concept almost amusing. "What trap could they possibly set that our technology cannot detect?" "That," said the Prime Executor, "is precisely what concerns me." Before they could discuss further, the sensor array erupted with alerts. Hundreds of small human vessels had appeared seemingly from nowhere, moving in chaotic patterns through the Voidborn fleet formation. "Engage defensive protocols," ordered the Prime Executor. "They are difficult to target," the weapons officer reported with uncharacteristic hesitation. "Their movements follow no logical pattern." On the tactical display, the human ships darted and weaved in seemingly random trajectories. Some flew dangerously close to Voidborn vessels, while others executed maneuvers that stressed their structural integrity to breaking point. It was flying that defied computer prediction, because it was being done entirely manually, guided by human instinct and desperation rather than optimized algorithms. "They're not even attempting to damage our ships," the Sub-Executor noted with confusion. "What is their objective?" The Prime Executor watched the display intently. "They're buying time. The question is, for what?" On the dark side of the moon, Dr. Isadora Wei worked frantically at her console, sweat beading on her forehead despite the climate-controlled environment. Around her, the cavernous chamber that housed the Prometheus array hummed with energy as technicians made final adjustments to the most powerful weapon humanity had ever conceived. "Power levels at 87% and climbing," reported her chief engineer. "We need 95% for minimum effective yield." Wei nodded tersely, her eyes never leaving the stream of calculations flowing across her screen. The array was essentially a massive particle accelerator wrapped around the lunar equator, designed to harness dark energy, the mysterious force causing the universe's expansion to accelerate. In theory, it could create a localized disruption in space-time that would specifically target the Voidborn's advanced propulsion and weapon systems. In theory, no one had ever weaponized dark energy before. There had been no time for proper testing, no safety protocols beyond the most basic. If her calculations were off by even a fraction, the array might tear a hole in reality itself. "Dr. Wei," called out her communications officer. Admiral Takahashi reports the diversionary fleet can't hold much longer. The Voidborn are adapting to their tactics. Wei closed her eyes briefly. Hundreds of brave men and women were out there, flying suicide missions to buy her these precious minutes. Tell them to hold position for 3 more minutes, she ordered. Just 3 minutes. As her team raced to complete the final preparations, Wei allowed herself one moment of doubt. Not about whether the array would work, the physics were sound, but about what it meant to deploy such a weapon. Humanity had created something that could fundamentally alter the fabric of reality. If they survived this encounter, what would stop them from using it again? Against each other. Perhaps the Voidborn were right to fear them. Power levels at 94%, announced the engineer. 95 seconds to minimum yield. Why push the doubt aside? Future ethical dilemmas were meaningless if humanity didn't survive to face them. Begin targeting sequence, she ordered. Focus the array on the Voidborn flagship. Lieutenant Diaz's fighter spun wildly as she narrowly avoided the destabilizing beam from a Voidborn cruiser. Around her, the improvised human fleet was taking heavy losses. The Voidborn had adapted quickly, their tactical AIs learning to predict even the seemingly random maneuvers of the human pilots. All ships, execute Pattern Omega, she commanded over the tactical channel. Repeat, Pattern Omega. It was their final maneuver. A desperate, all-out assault designed to concentrate the Voidborn's attention fully on the diversionary fleet. Across space, the remaining human vessels abandoned evasion and drove straight toward the heart of the alien formation. In the Voidborn flagship, alarms sounded as the human fleet suddenly shifted tactics. "They're on direct intercept courses," reported the weapons officer. "Impact imminent. Destroy them," ordered the prime executor. But a strange sensation, what humans might call intuition, caused them to hesitate. "Wait, this is too deliberate. Scan for energy signatures beyond the human fleet." The sensor officer complied, extending their scans to the far side of the Earth's moon, which had been outside their area of focus. "Energy buildup detected," they reported suddenly. Massive dark energy signature forming on the lunar surface. The prime executor felt something unprecedented, a sensation akin to fear. All ships evasive. But it was too late. On the lunar surface, Dr. Wei gave the final command. "Activate the array." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, space itself appeared to fold around the Voidborn fleet. It wasn't a conventional energy beam or explosion. It was a ripple in reality, a targeted manipulation of the dark energy that permeated empty space. The effect on the Voidborn ships was immediate and catastrophic. Their advanced drives, which manipulated space-time for propulsion, suddenly found themselves in conflict with the fabric of reality itself. Ships contorted in impossible ways, their hulls stretching and compressing as space-time buckled around them. Aboard her fighter, Diaz watched in awe as the Voidborn fleet was caught in what looked like a localized gravitational storm. Ships twisted and warped, their sleek designs crumpling like paper toys in an invisible hand. But something unexpected was happening. Rather than being destroyed, the Voidborn vessels were being transformed. The dark energy was reshaping them, forcing their technology to adapt in real time to the changing fundamental constants of their immediate environment. "This is Lunar Base," came Dr. Wei's voice over the comm. "The array is performing differently than projected. Stand by." On the Voidborn flagship, chaos reigned. Systems failed as reality itself seemed to rewrite the physical laws their technology depended upon. The prime executor fought to maintain control of both the ship and their own consciousness as the fabric of space twisted around them. Through the distortion, they'd managed to access the communications array. With effort that felt like pushing through solid matter, they transmitted a single message toward Earth. "Cease, weapon. Will, communicate." In the Prometheus control room, Wei saw the message appear on her screen. "They're surrendering," she breathed. "Or tricking us," countered Takahashi over the comm link. "Keep the array active." Wei watched her instruments carefully. The array is having an unexpected effect, Admiral. It's not destroying their ships, it's forcing their technology to recalibrate, to harmonize with our understanding of physics. I think we're creating a bridge. A bridge to what? Takahashi demanded. Before Y could answer, a new hologram materialized in the control room. The translucent figure of the Prime Executor, its form flickering and unstable. Humans, it spoke, its voice distorted but understandable. You have implemented technology you cannot comprehend. Dark energy manipulation is forbidden, too dangerous. Wei stepped forward. Yet you use similar technology for your ships, for your weapons. Controlled. Precise. The hologram flickered violently. Your implementation is chaotic, unpredictable, like you. That's humanity for you, Wei replied with grim satisfaction. Unpredictable to the end. The Prime Executor's form stabilized slightly. We misjudged. Believe humans primitive, dangerous but containable. We were incorrect. So you'll leave our planet alone. Takahashi cut in skeptically. Cannot leave. The Prime Executor replied. Your weapon has bound our technologies, created quantum entanglement between our civilizations. We are now connected. Wei's eyes widened as she checked her instruments. Admiral, it's right. The array has created some kind of quantum bridge between our systems and theirs. If we shut it down now, the backlash could destroy both of us. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then the Prime Executor spoke again. We propose coexistence, exchange of knowledge, controlled advancement. Alternative is mutual destruction. Takahashi looked to Wei, who nodded slowly. It's telling the truth, Admiral. We've accidentally created something new here, a technological symbiosis. We either learn to work together, or we both perish. The Admiral stared hard at the alien hologram. You came here to exterminate us. Yes, the Prime Executor acknowledged. Based on incomplete analysis. Now have new data. Humans are not merely chaotic. You are innovative. You found solution where none existed. Quality valuable to galaxy. So instead of destroying us, you want to, what? Be friends. Takahashi's voice dripped with skepticism. Not friends, corrected the Prime Executor. Partners, teachers and students both. Your species has developed technology in decades that others required centuries to discover. Dangerous, but impressive. Wei stepped forward. And the alternative? I deactivate safety protocols on our core drives. The Prime Executor stated simply. The resulting cascade failure interacts with your dark energy weapon. Solar system becomes small black hole. Wei checked her readings again and paled. It's not bluffing, Admiral. Takahashi looked around the room, at the faces of humanity's best scientists and soldiers, all watching for his decision. Then he looked back at the alien hologram. Partnership, he said finally, but on equal terms. No subjugation, no restrictive oversight. Knowledge exchange flows both ways. The Prime Executor's form shifted in what might have been their version of agreement. Acceptable. Will require adjustment period, cultural exchange, learning. Then it's settled, Wei said, a hint of wonder in her voice. Humanity's last stand just became first contact, for real this time. 2 months later, Sophia Dias stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed joint Earth-Voidborne station orbiting Mars. Below her, teams of human and Voidborne engineers worked side by side, combining their technologies to create something entirely new. The partnership had not been easy. There had been tense moments, cultural misunderstandings, lingering suspicion on both sides. But slowly, remarkably, it was working. The Voidborne, it turned out, had much to teach humanity about the efficient use of resources, long-term planning, and the manipulation of fundamental forces. In turn, humans offered creativity, adaptability, and a perspective that millennia of rigid development had caused the Voidborne to lose. Still can't believe they were going to wipe us out, remarked Admiral Takahashi, joining her at the viewport. They were afraid, Dias replied. Their entire history is built on precise calculation and controlled advancement. Then they encounter a species that leaps before looking, that builds dark energy weapons without fully understanding them, that flies mining ships against warships because it's the last thing anyone would expect. We must have seemed like madmen to them, Takahashi agreed with a wry smile. And now? Takahashi gestured to where a human physicist was animatedly explaining something to a void-born engineer, both of them manipulating a holographic model between them. Now I think they're starting to understand that what looks like chaos from the outside might actually be innovation from within. And maybe we're learning that a little method in our madness wouldn't hurt either. Dias nodded, turning her gaze back to the red planet below. Humanity had come within hours of extinction, only to emerge with advanced technology and a powerful ally. It wasn't how anyone would have planned it. But then again, humanity's greatest achievements rarely followed the expected path. You know what I think, she said finally. I think the universe just got a lot more interesting. And a lot more dangerous, Takahashi added. Well, Dias smiled. That's what happens when you pick a fight with humanity's last superweapon. What's that? Unpredictability.